So 2 weeks ago, on March 2nd, this book came out. The Great Sex Rescue, The Lies You've Been Taught and How to Recover What God Intended. This book has data from the single largest research study on Christian marriages and homes, Christian women, 22,000 respondents. There is no other study like this in the history of studying Christian marriages and sex. And there's a follow-up study coming from the point of view of men, so men are not left out. It gave enough data to show which books and materials have been the most harmful to Christian marriages, to women in Christian marriages, and to Christian married sex. The thing is, the books that have been the most harmful, these books, to the last one, are all wildly popular bestsellers. Millions and millions of copies, which means if each copy is anywhere from $15 to $25, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in sales in the Christian publishing community. And this data has now been out for 2 weeks, published, available to everyone. And I'm sitting here watching and listening, and there is deafening silence from the authors and the publishers of these materials, which have been proven in the largest study accepted for peer review, proven damaging and harmful. Why has no one apologized? Where are the retraction statements? Why are these books still on the shelves? There's only been one public response from one author, and it was not an apology. Shaunti Feldhan, the author of For Women Only, For Men Only, and some others. Shaunti Feldhan, though, is the only author that has made any statement at all out of the authors and the books that are shown to have had so much damaging, harmful impact for thousands and thousands and thousands of Christian marriages. And honestly, Shaunti, if you ever see this, my heart goes out to you, because I know this has got to be a tough time for a study like this to come out, because I know you're in cancer treatment. I have really short hair instead of my waist length hair because last year it all fell out when I was in chemo. And I would totally understand and have incredible compassion for you if you just said, you know what, when I'm out of cancer treatment, I will look at the study. I will slice and dice the data. I want to learn, but I am not in a place to do that right now. And so I'm just going to not touch this because my health doesn't allow me to really dig into this. I would respect that. Now, for all the other guys and ladies who have, and publishers and organizations who have participated on some way or profited in some way from all of these best-selling Christian books that are proven to be harmful, what about you guys? Where is your apologies? Where are your statements of understanding that maybe some of the things that you've written need to be changed, or some books need to be pulled off the shelves and taken out of circulation? You guys have made millions off of all of these, and I get that it must be really hard to look the cash cow in the face and say, maybe the data says this stuff was wrong, but y'all are all sitting in silence at the revelation through scientific study that you've caused unfathomable harm. Maybe not you as a person, but the materials put out. And I'm not trying to attack any individual. I just want to talk about the information, talk about the books themselves. Where's the Christian humility? Where are the apologies, written videos for enabling abuse and the harm done? Where's the recognition? Where is the repentance from those who claim to be followers of Jesus Christ, who have led millions and millions of trusting Christian spouses into further harm, who've enabled emotional and spiritual and other forms of abuse through damaging materials? I mean, I could get on this video and I could say, hey, the top books that made the study as the worst books, the worst materials, the most damaging, I could share how those harmed me when I was a newlywed wife, young clergy spouse, studying faithfully in Stormie Omartian's Power of a Praying Wife, and genuinely believing that if I just prayed harder, everything would be fixed. And that was all I needed to do for as many decades as it took. That book kept me in an abusive relationship. I could sit and say that when we discovered, as I was a young 20-something, the book Love and Respect, it was weaponized, like with so many other women, that it didn't matter what infidelities or deceptions or frauds or anything else that was perpetrated in our marriage, I had to give unconditional respect or all our problems were my fault. And I didn't deserve love. His Needs, Her Needs by Willard Harley taught me that it was my place to be a domestic sex slave, basically. And I had to do that first in order for him to give faithfulness or conversation or provide financially or anything else in response. And exactly the opposite of Christ's example to husbands to lay down their lives for their bride. These books harmed me as a young clergy spouse, naive, gullible, just really wanting to do what was right in my marriage. But if it was just about me, I could totally just say, you know what, maybe those were my issues. Maybe I was the only one. But the thing is, this study comes out and 22,000 women say the same thing about the same books. So shocking. It was not just me. It was not just any one of them. It was the books. It was the egregious misrepresentation of the heart and the character of God. It was the blame shifting and the manipulation of scripture and twisting it to make it the goal of marriage into something God never intended for it to be. And these books are still on the market, harming more trusting Christian spouses, because when you're living in that fog, you're thinking, well, maybe it is just me. It doesn't seem to fit with what I understand about God, but this is what they say. And so you read this book, because who reads marriage books? Women. So you read this book, and then it says you need to pray harder, obey more, be more submissive, say nothing, don't push back, don't have your own mind, just do whatever he wants, let him, give that unconditional respect, all of these things. And then you're like, wow, but it just seems like that's not working, because I'm trying my best to do all those things and it's still like this. It's still not working. And so then you go read another book, because who reads Christian marriage books? Women. So as a wife, you get another book and it tells you the same thing. Just pray more. That's all you have to do. Just pray. And then you're like, but that's not working. And so you read another book and it tells you the same thing. And it goes over and over again until you're just like, you know what? Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe this is really just all marriage is just hold on by the skin of your teeth, put up with everything that is unlike Christ, and hope you're not dead before you're old. But that's not what God says. I have to ask, is celebrity Christian author culture and raking in the millions in royalties more important than the harm that's done to gain those royalties? Is that the message we're giving here? When the authors and the publishers of damaging books like this are silent, it simply shows that you don't care enough about your audience or your responsibility before God to do better once you know better, once the data says that things need to be done better. And it is not okay to sit on royalties and let harmful materials keep on damaging trusting readers in the name of Christian resources. It's just simply unacceptable. But I'll tell you one thing that's even worse. Doubling down on harmful material is even worse. Claiming victimhood for publishing faulty studies, for promoting half-baked surveys, for actively harming tens of thousands of Christian homes and marriages in the name of God, no less, is absurd. The victims here are not the authors and the publishers, because you have a chance to change things. You have a chance to change your message in the face of data. The victims here are the ones who believed that they were being taught something helpful and godly, not the ones being called out by data for peddling harmful teachings. But in the face of this much data, if any one of these authors or publishers issue statements that lack actual apology, or if they double down on what the evidence has clearly proven to be harmful teachings, they are revealing themselves to be unsafe, unchristlike, and unteachable. Because they would rather get royalties from harmful, damaging material than admit that they might need to course correct. Do you know the top books that rated the worst from the bottom up from 22,000 respondents? The book Love and Respect by Dr. Emerson Eggerichs. The Every Man's Battle book by Stephen Arterburn and Fred Stoekker. The For Women Only, for Men Only series by Shaunti Feldhan. His Needs, Her Needs by Willard Harley. The Power of a Praying Wife by Stormie Omartian. The Act of Marriage by Tim LaHaye and Sheet Music by Kevin Leman. Those were rated the most damaging, most harmful, most enabling of abuse, most empowering of toxic marriage dynamics out of all the books on the Christian market. And not completely validated, but the other most harmful materials that were revealed by the study were, of course, Love and Respect. It topped all of them. I Kissed Dating Goodbye. But you know what? Guess what? Josh Harris already pulled that book from circulation because he realized that it had some messed up stuff, that it didn't take a Christ-like approach to things. He did the right thing. And whether or not you agree with his lifestyle now or the things that have happened to him now, he had the integrity to pull that book, to stop making money off of it, and to issue public retractions. Mad respect for him. The other ones that were super damaging, super harmful, out of these 22,000 survey responses, Created to Be His Helpmeet by Debbie Pearl, the Every Man's Battle series, which I already mentioned, and the organization Focus on the Family. Do you know why? Because they are the ones who push all this material. They are the ones who endorse it and keep telling people this is safe. In fact, after there was an outpouring, hundreds, thousands of women talking about how the book Love and Respect had increased their abuse, how it had empowered dangerous situations in their Christian marriages. Do you know what Focus on the Family said in response to that outpouring? Love and Respect is, and I quote, a biblically sound, empowering message for both husbands and wives. But it isn't, and the data proves it. And they still stand behind it. So publishers, Thomas Nelson, WaterBrook, Tyndale, Focus on the Family, where are your retractions? If Ravi Zacharias' ministry can recognize that even though his book's content were not directly harmful, that they should all be pulled, that they cannot ethically, morally, in good conscience, make money off of his materials because of his private life, how much more should the publishers of these materials be pulling these books, taking them out of circulation, issuing retraction statements, not because anyone is attacking the private lives of the authors, but because the books themselves are actually harmful. Where's the corporate responsibility? Where's the ethical morality in continuing to make money from books that are proven to cause harm? Why? Guys, publishers, why are you not telling your authors to make public apologies and retractions? Why are you not acknowledging the data? Where is your godly Christian conscience? Because right now, all you're doing is showing the whole world that you don't care enough about anything but money to actually do the right thing. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I am one of those women who would have said something like that if I had been in those 22,000. I'm one of those men who said something, who would say something like that if I had been in the 22,000 who responded to that survey. You know what you can do? Here's what you can do. You can send an email or post a social media message publicly. Make sure you screenshot it before it gets deleted. To focus on the family, because they are the ones who promote these materials to millions, hundreds of millions of people around the world. Let Focus on the Family know that you want ethical responsibility, accountability, and apologies for the harm done by the materials they are promoting. You want them to actually focus on the family in an evidence-based way and do what Jesus would have done and apologize for harm done. You don't have to just sit in silence. You can act on your conscience by making your voice heard. And you can do it in a loving and accountable and Christ-like way. We don't have to be mean about it. We just need to look at the evidence. And we need to do the right thing. If you see this floating around, pass it on. Let someone else know what they can do too. And hang in there. Because all of our voices together can create change. Don't get discouraged. The tide is turning. We can make a difference.